Mexico win their 10th Gold Cup after beating the U.S. men's national team 2-1 in the Gold Cup final in Houston. This is Twin Football. Thank you very much for joining us. Today's episode is all about the U.S. men's national team and the top 5 things that we learned from Pochettino and the players leaving this Gold Cup and entering into the September international break on the road to 2026, which will be the next set of competitive fixtures that the U.S. men's national team will play. So before we dive into our top 5 things that we learned, hats off to Raul Jimenez and that Mexican national team. They showed the grit, the heart, and the technical ability throughout the 90 minutes after going down 1-0 early to a fantastic Berhalter cross and a Chris Richards header off the bottom of the crossbar. They were able to battle back and score the winner with 15 minutes to go in a pro-Mexican Houston stadium there. A great win for them, rightfully so, deserved winners of this Gold Cup. But let's go ahead and move into the top 5 things that we learned from this U.S. men's national team. The referees, in particular, you can even throw in the referees from the Club World Cup, but in particular, Mario Alberto Escobar Toca, the Guatemalan referee from the Gold Cup final. And the thing that I learned here is we need some adjustments going into the World Cup in 2026. We've seen what the refereeing performances have been through the Gold Cup and the Club World Cup. And I think a majority of it can be boiled down to one simple thing is if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. What in the world was this? This is a stone wall penalty. How the referee and the VAR missed this is beyond me. And some people will try to throw the lingo or the jargon at you of, well, the rule states that if you are trying to brace yourself from falling, that the ball can strike your hand. But key words in there, the ball will strike your hand, not you put your hand on the ball. And also, he is already on the ground. His knee was on the ground to make the tackle. That is how he made this tackle. His knee was on the ground. Unless you are going to call this a foul on Usmnt for running through the Mexican defender here and taking out that leg, that knee that he used to win the ball back, which I can see. But if you are not going to call a foul there on Usmnt, then this has to be a stonewall penalty. You cannot allow players to just be falling, turning their body and put their hand down and make it look like they're bracing themselves in order to manipulate the ball or keep an attack from getting a dangerous opportunity or even a goal. Yes, this opportunity was squashed by the tackle. There's really no U.S. threat after that. It would have sucked to give a penalty in this situation, but it has to be given. And I think throughout the Gold Cup and throughout this Club World Cup, there's been a lot of discrepancy on what should be a foul, what shouldn't be a foul, especially in transition play and these like one-on-one battles. And a lot of players are getting frustrated, and a lot of players have gotten yellow cards or even second yellow cards, like the PSG Atletico Madrid game, because they don't know what should be a foul or what shouldn't be a foul, and they're arguing and getting yellow cards that way. And so overall, my number 5 takeaway from this Gold Cup is the refereeing needs to be looked at and prepared for 2026. We cannot have these type of mistakes in a quarterfinal, in a semifinal, in a final of the World Cup in 2026. For more proof on this, we can go back to 2023 because that event reminded me of this. Odegaard touching the ball outside of the box against Liverpool 2 days before Christmas when both of these teams were fighting for top spot in the Premier League. A 1-1 draw resulted from this game, mainly because this was not given as a handball during on-field refereeing or during VAR review. And during the VAR script, you can go back and read it. And it specifically says it was not given due to the fact that Odegaard was falling, trying to brace himself. But if you watch this clip, it's a clear handball, a stonewall penalty if inside the box, and it just was not given. And this resulted in a 1-1 draw. Now, obviously, Man City go on to win this title, but at the time, this was for top spot, and Arsenal finished top spot at Christmas, which we know usually how important that is. And it was all because of a very poor call that Howard Webb came out and reviewed and said, as head of the PGMOL, that this should have been called a handball, and rightfully so. And so should have this. This is ridiculous that this wasn't called. So that is number 5. Now, let's go ahead and move on to number 4. Diego Luna should be part of the September camp for this U.S. men's national team. Now, you go back through the games, like the game against Guatemala, a great performance, gets on the score sheet. He's winning the ball back up, high pressing, winning the ball, and being able to start the transition far up the pitch, giving Tillman, Agyemang good opportunities and good chances, and that is great. But as you saw against Mexico, the higher level competition, the more that Luna is going to struggle. He has 12 total caps. Obviously, a majority of those minutes coming from this Gold Cup, and rightfully so. 3 goals, 2 assists in this tournament. He had good performances, and I think that deserves him a spot in the September camp. Now, his energy and his work rate is what we really need for that September camp, okay? I don't think he is going to get the minutes in 2026. But I think if you can bring him in early in the September camp and get him firing, I think you can bring this squad together, because it's going to be a little bit of a touchy time in September when these players that didn't play in the Gold Cup come back. Diego Luna has earned it, but I think he will be a very central piece in the upcoming international breaks to meld this team together for 2026, even though I don't think he will be playing that much in 2026. Now let's move on to my third most important thing that we learned from this Gold Cup. And that is that Tillman has to start in these upcoming friendlies in the fall with the starting 11. I don't know who you're going to have to move around to make this happen, but you're going to have to, whether that's Musa, Adams, McKinney, if you're going to do something with Pulisic, a number 9, or Timothy Weah or Gio Reyna in the front 3, you're going to have to maneuver that front 6 from the midfield onwards to be able to figure out where Tillman's going to work best. But Tillman has earned the spot in the starting 11 and the opportunity to play along the likes of Pulisic and Adams and McKinney and Balogun, if you want to start him up the middle, and Tim Weah or Gio Reyna. He has to start in September. These performances were absolutely fantastic from him. He's had 25 games basically with the U.S. men's national team in his career, only 23 years old. Obviously, this tournament, he got 6 starts here. He played a lot of minutes. He played more minutes really in these 6 than in the previous 19 games combined, basically. And he is getting better and better. And the opportunities he creates, the big chances, the key passes, the combination play with a number 9 was fantastic this tournament. He's deserved it. He has to start in the September friendlies moving forward. And I think he is the best opportunity to start in 2026 from this Gold Cup roster that is trying to earn its spot. So that's number 3. Tillman's got to start in the fall. Now moving on to number 2. Matt Freese and Patrick Agyemang are not good enough. So 2 of the big questions entering into the Gold Cup was, can we solve our center back problem, and can we solve our number 9 problem? Now, I made a video early on. Please go check that out if you're interested, on the critiques of Pochettino and the players that he brought into this Gold Cup. Yes, there's a lot of players that pulled out, but there was a lot of coaching decisions that were made to leave the likes of Sargent and Carter Vickers out of this Gold Cup. But the 2 questions still remained. 1, who is going to be the center back pair? And 2, who is going to lead the line in 2026? Well, he tried Agyemang in this Gold Cup. We saw against Costa Rica his best game, his best performance in my book of the entire tournament. He played well with his combination play, his link-up play. His 1-2s with Tillman were fantastic. He set up both goals by being able to hold off defenders or pull defenders out of space and allow runners in through. And it was absolutely fantastic. But that was against a makeshift Costa Rica team with some players out. If you look at the games against Mexico or even in the group stage, he is too slow in the box. And the best comparison is to look at Raul Jimenez for Mexico. Jimenez gets the ball, his back turned to goal, and he recognizes, this is my half opportunity that I'm going to get in this final. I need to take advantage of it. I'm not going to take an extra touch. I'm not going to hold off my defender and try to wait to lay it off. I'm going to take this as a number 9, and I'm going to hit it high near post and get us on the board. And that's exactly what he did. Agyemang, for me, he plays too slow against these higher level defenders. He isn't able to technically keep up. We tried it. We learned from it. And we know that we're going to have to look at other options moving into September for the number 9 position. Matt Freese, in my opinion, his only opportunity in 2026 is to come on if we go to penalties. He proved himself that he is, in fact, built for penalties. He said it himself, and I agree with it. He needs to be part of the roster for penalties. But I think we need, after this Gold Cup, due to his mistakes, due to his overall performance, he just isn't good enough. And we just can't move forward with him. We're going to need to look for Matt Turner to get a loan to Lyon or get more game time somewhere else, because he has to be our starter in 2026. And these upcoming friendlies need to be with that in mind. That's number 2. And the number 1 thing that I'm taking away from the 2025 Gold Cup going towards the 2026 World Cup, Chris Richards and Tim Ream can be the center back pairs in 2026. Chris Richards chipped in with goals this tournament, was very strong in the back. Even if you go back to those friendlies before the Gold Cup, overall his performance has been pretty solid. He's only building, he's growing in the Premier League with Crystal Palace. He is going to be a stalwart for them in the upcoming season, especially if Mark Gahey gets his move away to Liverpool. It's going to be Chris Richards' back line to command. I think he's going to be great. Tim Ream showed that, yes, he might have lost a step, but his know-how and his experience is taking him there. And the two of them can be a respectable partnership in 2026. And so that is why that is my number 1 takeaway from this Gold Cup. We needed to figure out our center back pairs. I criticized Pochettino for his lack of including people like Carter Vickers or even an Austin Trusty, even though maybe not the best performances in the past. I think they are building and deserve an opportunity. But moving into September, we can safely say our center back pairs right now for 2026 will be Chris Richards and Tim Ream. And we will see if someone can break into that. And it's going to take some good performances, some consistent play through the next season for their club team, and good performance leading up to the 2026 World Cup to break that. But there you have it. There are my top 5 takeaways. Please let me know your thoughts on the Gold Cup, finishing second behind Mexico and 1 year away from 2026 World Cup here in the United States. Let's go.